Friends, oh my goodness. In the case of the state of Georgia versus Shirley Merritt's no good son, honey. So the state has rested. They brought all their witnesses and their evidence and whatever. And then Shirley Merritt's no good son took the stand. This, my friends, is a sight to behold. First of all, totally stone cold face. He was like, yes, I was a wonderful father. We were a wonderful family. Yes, I stole some money from some old people. I mean, as one does. But then my mother and I, we had a close and warm and loving relationship. And I was a wonderful person. I took care of the homeless. I neutered a stray cat one time. Oh, the weepy, wonderful stories he told about his life with a totally flat affect that read like, I am a psychopath. Please just listen to what I say. And I was listening to it on 2 times speed, and he sounded crazy. So I was like, okay, eventually my watching caught up to real time, so it slowed down to normal speed. And I was like, okay, maybe it's because I was listening to it fast. It's me. I'm sure it's me. I was listening wrong. And so now that I'm listening to it at normal speed, this foolishness that's coming out of his mouth is going to make some sense. Oh, how wrong I was. I was so wrong. Very wrong. So this is the story of what happened according to Shirley Merritt's no good son. His given name is Dick Richard whatever. That name is not worthy of being in my head because my head is a beautiful and sacred place. And him, he don't belong in there. So we refer to him as Shirley Merritt's no good son. This is what this fool said. This is what this gentleman said happened. So Shirley was making me some spaghetti and garlic bread. We talked about the good garlic bread, right? Straight out of the oven, hot, fresh, steamy, olive oil. And apparently Shirley was an amazing cook. When knock, somebody knocks at the door and he was like, oh no, Mom, you go ahead and plate up that food. I'm gonna go and see who this is at the door. And they don't have a peephole. So he had to open the door to the mansion and see what was going on. And 2 dudes were standing there with guns and they said, let us in. Sir, everything about this story sounds like a lie, but okay, maybe this is what happened. I was not there. And so Shirley, with her, I would imagine her oven mitts still on her hand, said, Dickie, who's at the door, honey? And the bad guys came in, a tall, skinny one and a short, fat one. Honestly, the only thing that this dude didn't add to this story was an all-purpose minority. Because evildoers like this, oh, they got an all-purpose minority. Oh, it was a nondescript Asian man. It was a nondescript black man. It was a Hispanic man. It was a Muslim man. Oh, yeah, they always keep a nondescript minority in their back pocket. But I'm at least grateful that he had the common sense to leave us out of it. Because us minorities, we catching enough heat. Entitled white men, I'm going to need y'all to just go on and keep your crime. Do some white-on-white crime and leave us out of it. So anyway, according to Shirley Merritt's no good son, 2 dudes came in with guns and ushered them to the basement, which made him think, oh, they know the house has a basement, so maybe they've been casing the joint. Sure they were, sir. Sure they were. So they were ushering them down to the basement to do God knows what, because most people don't keep their valuables in their basement, but I don't know. I don't have valuables to keep in a basement, so maybe you keep your valuables in your basement. So Shirley was whimpering and like, and making noises like she was going to scream. So according to this dude's story, first, the bad guys went down the stairs first, and then his mom started to go down the stairs first. Each one of them had a gun, and each bad guy had a gun in each one of their backs. But he knew for certain that these were probably the elderly people that he stole $70,000 from, because that makes a lot of sense. Girls? You see me trying to do some gossip, dogs. Calm down. There must be deer in my backyard. I'm a power through though, because I'm 4 minutes into the story. Anyway, so Shirley Merritt's no good son says that the bad guys took their guns, started ushering them downstairs, and then Shirley whimpered or made some sort of noise. And so the two bad guys together now, one of them went back up into the kitchen and got a kitchen knife, because why would he shoot her with the gun in his hand when he could just go back upstairs and get a kitchen knife out of their very own kitchen? And so he pushed her down the stairs. She bonked her head, and then he ran down the stairs after her and began stabbing her. And then he went over to Shirley's no good son's weight bench and bashed her on the head with one of his weights. And so that's the reason why his fingerprints were on the weight. And then the dudes said to him, now look, now keep in mind, they were there to do evil things to him, but because the mom whimpered too loud, Shirley, they offed her. And he was devastated and horrified, having seen what happened to our precious Shirley. And the garlic bread was there in the oven. So, of course, he took it out, because you could kill your mama, but you can't defile the garlic bread. So he took the garlic bread out and he put it on the stove. He probably had a little bite of spaghetti on his way out the door. And then the bad guys took a cell phone and said, you see this picture? That's a picture of your wife. Swipe. That's a picture of your kids. Swipe. That's a picture of everybody you love. And I know where they live. So if you tell the cops, I'm going to do something terrible to your family. And then they left without harming him at all, after using a knife that was there in the house and not the guns that they had in their hands. Okay, sir. So then he was terrified. He was supposed to turn himself into the police that day. And so, but he was afraid to go near the police, because what would the bad guys say if they caught him hanging out near the police? So he drove to the edge of town. He cut off his ankle monitor. He took his mother's car, because he figured, I'm probably going to have to sleep in this car. And her car, the Lexus, has more leg room than that stupid Toyota or Honda or whatever it was that she bought him. So he took her car and drove to Kmart, a gas station. He got some snacks. Of course, he went to Walmart. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't hit up the Walmart murder aisle. You know, where you could get tarps and duct tape and black clothing in various sizes. And of course, a balaclava to put over your head. They probably have tire irons in that same aisle, because that is what Walmart does. And then they capture you on videotape as you use the self-checkout, because if you're a murderer and you're in a hurry, you probably need the help. They're like, can somebody come with the code or the key to help me? Because blah, 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 because that's how that goes. Anyway, he did stop at Walmart, though not the murder aisle. Kudos to him for that, I guess. Mama was already dead, so he ain't need nothing from the murder aisle unless he was going to dispose of her body, which, of course, he didn't. So he cut his monitor off, and then he moved out of town. He got a fake ID. He made the fake ID himself, a fake driver's license. I didn't even know you could do that. This boy has skills. He has skills good enough to come up with a better story than this madness that he gave up in court today. And because that was not enough, listen, Alec Murdaugh is a scumbag, but he had the common decency to pretend to cry. No, nobody didn't believe it. He was just blowing snot and looking a hot-ass mess there on the film before God and all the world to see, but at least he had the decency to pretend to cry. This man told this story as though he was giving you directions on how to get down to the Piggly Wiggly. But oh, no. Then the evil man, he bashed my mother in the head. I was devastated. I didn't know if I could go on. Sir, you are a sociopath. And so then he moved to Nashville, got a job at a bar, because he didn't really have no money, because his mother had given up. She took a second mortgage on the house to pay for his bail and all this other stuff. Everybody in this man's life abandoned him. His mother, the only person who stood by him. The only person that he hit in the head with a very heavy weight, his mother. She should have ate the garlic bread herself and left his behind locked up in jail for that 10 months instead of having him come and live at her house. Ungrateful son of a. Anyway, So he trots off to Nashville and he's laying low. He doesn't want anybody to find out who he is. He changed his name. He became Mick Malvo, not to be confused with Lee Malvo, the DC sniper. Because if I'm going to hide out, I'm going to change my name to Son of Sam. Nobody will find me then. Sir, you are an idiot. And then, as you do when you're laying low and you don't want anybody to know who you are, he went on a dating site and he met a nice lady. I think her name was Kelly. I do not recall. And he was working at the bar. And because we discussed this before, he was a hobosexual. He ain't have no place to live. So he started hanging out at Kelly's all the time because he didn't have no place to go. And so Kelly, bless her heart, Kelly girl, you partner at the level of your self-esteem. So the fact that you took this hobo in lets us know where you were. I hope that you found Jesus, got some therapy, did whatever you need to do to get your whole life together. Because him, he was not worth your time and certainly not worth all this aggravation and not worth having your whole name all over the internet. Kelly Richardson. She about to be a PhD. Maybe I shouldn't say her name out loud, but she put herself in this situation. Ladies, this is what happens when you take in a hobosexual. Your whole situation goes off to the left. And now, even though you are Dr. Kelly Richardson, everybody is like, oh, Kelly Richardson of the hobosexual murder? Yes, that is her taking in hobos. Anyway, so her whole situation is messed up. He was hanging out too much. And she was like, you know what you could do? You could be here less. I have things going on. You work at a bar. Why don't you go down and work at the bar and continue to sleep in your Lexus like you was doing before you met me? And I'm going to go back to getting my PhD. How about we do that? And so she wanted to see less of him. And so good for her. She managed to see less of him. I don't know how long he was missing, but he was having some anger management issues. He was having some homelessness issues. He was having some psychopathy or some bad personality issues. He had all kinds of issues. And then Shirley's no-account son thought that his new girlfriend lived in a safe neighborhood. Turns out, no. His car got stolen. And when his car got stolen and the cops recovered it, they were like, hey, this is the car of that man that went missing. The dude who killed his mama and stole her car. And he was like, you know what happened? The police didn't look at anybody else but me. I think that's unfair, sir. How many other people in your mother's mansion neighborhood disappeared, hadn't been seen since her murder, and cut off their ankle bracelet? I'll wait. Was there somebody up the street who had done those same things? Maybe they should have been looking into one of the neighbors. No, sir. Everybody else was looking for her, and you were the only one missing. So Officer Friendly and them showed up and tackled you right there in the thrift store. Turns out it was not a Goodwill, but I guarantee you there were some people standing in line trying to buy their used lamps and discount leggings, and there he was holding up the line because he needed a lightweight jacket. How about you not murder people, and then you don't have to worry about buying a jacket at the thrift store down there in Nashville where people were minding their own business. So the cops arrested him, and they took him back. And then all the time he was in prison, he never mentioned these bad guys. These bad guys only came up when it was time for him to go to trial. And he called no other witnesses, not one. That was his whole story. And the prosecutor took him apart brick by brick, sentence by sentence. She disassembled his sorry behind there on the stand. And he got a little defensive. But you know what he didn't do? Talk about how much he missed his dearly. Alex Murdaugh, that scumbag, had the common decency to come up with Paw and Mags. Did we believe him? No, we did not. Not at all. Disgusting Alex Murdaugh even threw a canine into the situation. Now, will that make people loathe him from now and forevermore? Yes, possibly more than the murderers, because people love animals even when they don't like people. And let's be real, Paul and Maggie, quiet as it's kept, they were both trash. They were not good people, but they did not deserve to get gunned down by the trash patriarch of that family. You can be trash and still stay alive. We just talk about you behind your back because we have manners. But no, trash Alex Murdaugh killed his trash wife and trash son and that's sad. I personally am not mourning, but I do not believe in doing away with people because that is just bad form and bad karma. And what are you going to tell St. Peter at the pearly gates? You going to have some splaining to do when you get there. Bottom line, Shirley Merritt's no good son got up there and told a bold-faced lie. He did not include animals, which I will give him half a cool point for that, but many, many, many demerits for A, not even looking sad. He did not even grieve the loss of the garlic bread. Clearly, you did not like your mother. Fine. Won't you miss her carrot cake? You didn't talk about the delicious coffee she makes with a little bit of chicory in it. You know she uses chicory. She knows all the secret recipes. Also, can I get Shirley's carrot cake recipe? I'm just saying, if anybody watching this channel happens to know her secret ingredient for her cake, I believe there was a coconut cake recipe that's out there. Was pineapple included? I need to know these things. Sir, we know you killed your mother. We know you did not like her. But on the strength of the extra good piping hot garlic bread that you didn't even have the common decency to eat all of, you should go to prison for life. Tomorrow, closing statements. We'll see what happens then. You have a good night.